Welcome to the Pickleball Recovery Podcast, where we highlight products and practices to help you feel better faster, so you can spend less time stiff, sore, and injured, and more time on the court doing what you love. This podcast is sponsored by AlloMD. Don't just mask pain, eliminate it. AlloMD provides intense relief and advances continual repair for both acute injuries and chronic pain. All-natural, patented technology developed by doctors to get you back in the game fast without the use of opioids, steroids, or NSAIDs. AlloMD, harnessing the power of pure natural ingredients that provide deep, penetrating repair. Patented, validated, natural. Learn more at www.allomd.com and make sure to use the discount code PBR at checkout to save $5 off your order. What's up? Welcome to Pickleball Recovery. I'm your host, Tim Ringgold. How you doing? Did you play any pickleball today? Hope so. I'm going to play a little while from now. Very excited about that. Got a lesson and then some live ball. 3 hours on the court. Getting better. Well, that's the plan at least, right? So, listen, I am so excited about this interview. At last, my guest is Tyson. Yeah, you're welcome for that. Man, listen, Tyson first agreed to do this interview quite a while ago, and then it's just been like so tricky to get us to do it. And normally I like to do my interviews in person, but we have just it's like every time we try to do it, it doesn't work out. So we finally just, said uncle and recorded it virtually. Ironically, we were only about 20 minutes away from each other as the crow flies. But this was the only way for us to sneak this in at last. So strap in and buckle up, because he is going to throw all kinds of things at you in terms of what he does, what he uses, what he takes. Oh man, it's like, drinking water from a fire hose. So get ready. Super excited for it. Separately, if you haven't gone over to pickleballrecovery.com yet, please do so and check it out, because it is the one-stop shop for all your recovery needs. Like, so many different products on there, and as well as my blog, where I'm writing about different practices, different issues in recovery every week. You can also find all the podcasts or the links to the YouTube videos of all the podcasts on the podcast page there. So it's really an easy place for you to just get all your recovery content. And I would love to hear from you. If there is a brace or a sleeve or a device that you're using and you don't see it on the website, would you email me or Facebook me, message me, Instagram me, whatever? Just reach out. Let me know about it, because I'm constantly learning about new cool devices and, this, that, and the other thing that help somebody. And if it helps somebody, well, then it's going to help somebody else. And the genesis of this whole project has been, well, how do I help more of my fellow picklers feel better faster? Because listen, remember, if you feel better, you move better. And if you move better, you play better. And your body is your most expensive piece of equipment that you own. So, buy whatever paddle you want. But if you can't lean down and get that dink from where you need to, it doesn't matter what paddle you're holding, right? So hence, but I'm preaching to the choir. You're already here. So please do me a favor, go over to the website, check it out. If you see a product category and you don't see something that you use, reach out to me. You can hit me at tim@pickleballrecovery.com over the emails, or you can message me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Tim Ringgold. Pickleball Recovery is also on Facebook. You can message me on Instagram, DM me there at Tim Ringgold. So connect. I'd love to know. Okay. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Pickleball Recovery.
Tim, what is going on, buddy? We've been trying to plan this for a long time now. I know I'm kind of a tough guy to get a hold of, but appreciate you having me on. I think the first time I met you was a couple years ago in Newport. You ended up attending my camp. You were, I think, by far one of the best people in the camp, and you were a great listener. You were a total sponge. You were very respectful. You were helping others. Everybody needs a freaking Tim in their life, I'll tell you what.
Aw, go on. Go on.
keep breaking it. Come on.
That's it. Stop it. Stop it. Well, it's funny you mentioned Newport because I was going to say that was the first time that I needed recovery because we did 6 hours on day one at your camp. I had never done 6 hours on concrete. I'm a soccer player. I was like, my legs were embattled after that. So I went home and immediately did an ice bath with Epsom salt so that I could have a prayer at day two. But what really happened was when we went to dinner that night, you had Dr. Greg Song there with Get Air Relaxed compression boots. And you talked about recovery. And I was like, oh, okay, this guy, he gets it because I'm doing this for survival. And so I wore those boots that first night and it was like a revelation to me, oh, this is so good. And I went on to buy them later on. But that was like the first time I thought, oh, okay, this matters to more than just me. And I remember at the Masters in La Quinta, whatever year that was, like November of 21. I was like, okay, I'm going to start a podcast about this. And I told you about the idea and you were so gracious. You were like, I'd love to be one of your guests. And I'll be honest with you. There are some pros who like pay attention to this and there are a lot who don't yet, but this is really important to me. So I'd be happy to talk about it. And here we are, whatever amount of time that is later, time has caught up and here we are at last to geek out about our bodies. I like to think of my body as kind of like a hot rod. So, a hot rod machine, you have to push a hot rod to like, red line in order to get top performance. Right. And that's kind of how I feel about our bodies in pickleball. Like we have to push our bodies to get this elite performance out of it. And that comes at a cost and we're not 19 anymore. So what do we do right about it? So what I would love to talk about today is kind of two different aspects of this recovery. One is, what are you doing when you're home to kind of prepare yourself? And then what are you doing, when we're out and we see each other at tournaments during the day? What are the different practices? What are the different products? So let's imagine you're back home, you're in Coeur d'Alene, you're doing your normal, whatever that looks like for you, kind of workouts, you're working with Craig or you're just doing your thing. What are some of the routines that you're now doing that, you may not want to do them, but they're building that base for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think as pretty much since, not since day one, not since 2016 when I first started, but probably around 2018, 2019, really started to just get more educated with my body, take better care of my body, eat a little better, surround the right people around me. And, I've been a brand ambassador for Beamer now for about 4 years. I've been using boots, the compression boots from Get Air Relax for about 4 years now. Been doing IVs also for a couple years. But, kind of like a normal day for me while I'm at home. I'm generally more sore at home. Why? Because I'm in the gym 4 days a week, lifting, doing functional training, working on my hand speed, working on my foot speed, trying to work on my core. And then I usually go to yoga after that. I'll do hot yoga. I love just to get completely smoked during power yoga, and I have nothing left in the tank. It's so funny. There's something in me that still has that like wrestler mentality of loving to suffer.
Yep.
Like I love to just take my body to the end where there's nothing left in the tank. And I think that's why you and I probably like appreciate and like respect singles so much, like just beating your body until there isn't much left in the tank, and you can
nailed it.
And you can visually like see your opponent like falling apart and like they have nothing left in their gas tank. So how that ties in with recovery is huge. And I think something that I don't have and something I probably won't ever have is moderation. Like whether it's pickleball, it's it's family, it's working out, it's recovery. Like I'm all in, right? And so a typical day for me at home, I'm usually in the gym by 4:30. Up by 4:30, in my hot tub by like 4:45. The first thing I do is I slam about 20 ounces of water, take my supplements, and then directly after that, something I've been doing is like jotting down 10 things that I'm grateful for. So, being grateful in the morning, I'll meditate for 5 or 10 minutes. my wife and I have been reading a Bible verse in the morning and then praying a little bit. And then directly after that, I'll spend about 30 minutes in the hot tub. I'll do some light stretching in the hot tub. I'll probably like sweat like a pound or a pound and a half. And then from there, I'll go directly to working out. I'll go see Craig at 5:30, working out from 5:30 to 7. At around 7, I go right to yoga. I'll do yoga from 7 to 8. And then, and then I guess have breakfast like around 8 or 9. I'm a big breakfast guy. I'm a strong believer that whether it's tournament day, it's practice day, or it's just any day, you can really set the tone to your day with a good, healthy breakfast. I usually go a little bigger in the morning too. I'm known to go.
What's breakfast look like for you?
I'm known to go like 3 or 4 eggs, like 4 or 5 links of sausage, a bunch of fruit. If I can do some.
Hey, do me a favor and point your camera up a little bit. I'm looking right up your nose, and it's gorgeous. But like
right there.
Yeah, there you go. A little more. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So go a little bigger in the morning for breakfast. I'll do 2 protein shakes right away as well. I'm trying to average like anywhere from like 100 to 125 grams a day just in protein.
Great.
And directly after that, I will go to practice, probably practice from like, 10 to 1. And then right after practice, I'll go do cold and hot therapy. I'll go do cold plunge, sauna. There's a place in town in Coeur d'Alene called Heat Proxia. They have 8 different rooms. Each room has infrared sauna, red light panel, and then a cold plunge in there. And I'll probably do like 15 minutes in the sauna, 7 minutes in the plunge. Now, my very first time plunging, there was no way in hell I could do 7 minutes. And I don't know, like, I'm a strong believer in finding different ways to like mentally make you tougher, make your skin a little crustier. And I think it's all very healthy. It's all very beneficial to a wide range of things in life. And something that I like the main benefit that I've got from plunging is understanding my breath work, understanding how to like meditate and just use your brain as like a power tool and be able to like block everything out and just focus on where you're at, breathe, relax. It's just made me tougher. I feel like anyhow, the first couple times I cold plunged, I would like go up to my hips for about 2 or 3 minutes and I'd jump out, go back in the sauna. And now I have a better routine, but the only way I can really like, continue with the 7 or 8 minutes of cold plunging is to be consistent and to do it pretty much every day. Even if I skip 2 days and I try to go back on the cold plunge, I can only manage like 3 or 4 minutes. So it's funny how that works. Yeah, totally. With all the ink on my body, cold plunging, I kid you not, has made me tougher and it's just allowed me to understand my breath better during my tattoo sessions. So like, prime example, I just got my ribs done. When you get your ribs done, it's the most brutal, life-changing experience I feel like anybody can go through. Like there's so many times where you're second guessing yourself and you just want to jump out of the chair. Anyhow, I was able to like sit there for 6 hours, just be a statue, swallow it down and took it. And there's certain nerves that like, as you're getting a tattoo in your ribs, there's certain nerves that like hit and they'll come at your neck or come at your elbow. Anyhow, it's just very uncomfortable, very alarming. And I personally feel like I've been like toughened up a little bit through cold plunging. So after cold plunging, I'll go home. When I go home, I have like a little like recovery room at my house. It's in my gym. And I'll try to spend like 45 minutes in there. I'll do 20 minutes on the beamer. I'll do 20 minutes with boots. I have all the hyperized gear as well. So, nice. I think like the main one that I use is like the back strap. It's got the heating pack. It's got the vibrator. And I can actually use that while I'm on beamer. So I can kind of, kill 2 birds with one stone.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. 2 for 1. And, I, do an IV once a week. The IV that I do usually is like a Myers cocktail. It's got B vitamins. It's got potassium. It's got magnesium. It's got glutathione. I'll put some NAD in there. If you know what NAD is, helps with neuron function.
Good. Yes.
And,
stuff.
Honestly, like as much time as I put forth towards my family and to being on the court and playing, it's equivalent to me, spending just as much time, on like the recovery side. So I feel like I have a pretty good balance as far as, family, working out, recovery, gym, and all that. And I would not be the man today. I would not be in the position that I am today if I didn't do all those things. I think you know this, but recently I got hurt, the last couple months, and it was all like tendon related. Like I tore the tendon in my foot. I tore a hip labrum, which led to tendinosis in my hamstring. I have tendinosis, all these tendinosis injuries. I have tendinosis in my elbow, and then I have kind of like a bummy shoulder. Anyhow, super cool. I actually just linked up with this company called Wild Health. This is very interesting. And there's a gentleman named Ben Greenfield. If you know Ben Greenfield, he's a guy out of Spokane, Washington. Ben has been on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's probably one of the more educated health guys worldwide. And anyhow, he introduced me to Wild Health. And Wild Health specifically is DNA testing for anybody. And they send you a kit. You take a saliva swab, you send it back. You take a blood sample, you send it back. Anyhow, based off your DNA, they prescribe the right diet. They prescribe the right workout program. They prescribe the right supplements. They prescribe the right recovery. And so, what's so weird is that based on my results, they could tell that I was deficient in a couple different vitamins, and that added up to my tendons being weak. And Tom is the main doctor that I work with, Dr. Tom McCoy. And anyhow, I was like, Tom, I'm like, you freaking hit the nail on the head, man. Here I am. And I tore the tendon in my foot, and I have tendinosis in my hamstring, and I have tendinosis in my elbow. Like that totally makes sense. And they found out as well that I was only averaging like 40 grams of protein a day. I was high in carbs and low in protein.
Wow.
So we completely changed the diet, much less carbs. I'm taking like beef liver, supplements in the morning and things that are like rich in protein. They were telling me too, like for dinner and stuff like that, do a lot of crock pot style cooking, with a lot of bone broth and bones in there that's rich in protein. Anyhow, so I've been waking up, and I kid you not, slamming anywhere from 2 to 3 protein shakes within 10 minutes and just getting it down. And the last 2 months, I probably had put on 10 pounds, 10 good solid pounds. And,
really?
Yeah, man. So, and not only has the added protein like allowed me to gain some weight, in which I needed, but also it's helped with my recovery and it's helped with muscle development.
Yes.
And, so anyhow, I'm a huge believer now. And I trust my team with Wild Health. I get to talk to a sports therapist a couple times a week. We meet every 2 weeks. I also speak with their dietitian. And anyhow, I think like pretty much all the best athletes in the world all use services like Wild Health. There's a wide range of companies that do DNA testing like that. And anyhow, like Ben Greenfield got me in the back door. He's a super rad dude and has been a total educator. And anyhow, I can't thank him enough. And it just seems like most things that he has sent my way has been complete gold, if you know what I mean.
Nice.
I was on Ben's podcast
really
recently, and Ben's wrote a couple books and stuff like that. Anyhow, great guy. And he's allowed me to like understand my body better and just understand that like if I continue to put effort into my body through recovery services, that I'll keep getting a benefit. And I don't know, like the last couple years on the PPA tour, like the last 4 months of the year, I feel like I'm peaking. And I think whether it's basketball, it's tennis, it's golf, if you're peaking at the end of the season, you're obviously taking care of your body, right? Like it's a very long season. And so it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish the season. And I don't know, something that, I have been very consistent with over the last couple of years is I guess bringing my best and being able to like find an extra gear late in the season. And I think it's all due to body work and all the above. Something that I did not mention is that I go to Stretch Lab a couple days a week. I'm a big fan of going to Stretch Lab. It's like deep, intense stretching that personally I do a little bit, but I need somebody to kind of aid me and somebody to kind of push me a little bit. And then I am known to get a few massages. Anytime that I travel out for a tournament, obviously I'm not lifting as much, so I'm not as sore. But I still do cold and hot. I'm still doing beamer. I'm still doing compression boots. But usually like tournament week, I'll fly in. Monday the tournament starts Thursday, and so I'll spend Tuesday, Wednesday, practicing morning and night. And so usually Wednesday night I'll get a 2-hour massage, and then maybe Friday night or Saturday night I'll also get like a 2-hour massage. So big fan of recovery, brother.
Yeah, I get it. I too have started getting massages, particularly after singles day, to be able to recover my body during a tournament. That's been a game changer. Like, I don't think people truly understand how much you wreck your body in singles.
No, right.
And like you know, I coming from soccer, playing doubles is fun, but it wasn't exhausting. Right. I needed to get exhausted, you know? And so I remember early on, I'd be like asking people during like rec play, hey, you want to play some singles just to run out my body, you know, just so I left exhausted. And after singles day, that's like, oh, I have 2 more days now. I need to undo the damage that was just done. How can I do that? And I need someone to move my body for me and someone to work all that stress and trauma out. You just ran off like 27 amazing different practices that any number of which I would like go down the rabbit hole with. And I was like going to keep notes and I was like, there's no point in keeping notes here. This is going to be impossible. But, love that you're doing the hot and cold. I just wrote a blog post yesterday on my website about cold plunge. No, you're good. But your camera just went away. There you're back. And how there's this nerd word called hormesis, which is, it's like purposeful stress. It's putting your body into a stress response so that you can develop the kind of the adversity muscle. And when you described your experience in the chair, getting your ribs done, that's a great example of being able to handle something at a later date that you've built up the ability to do so. And so when we put our bodies like purposely through stressful situations, we build that muscle, and we can only do it through that kind of resistance. And cold plunge is a perfect example of building that kind of stress resistance and resilience. So that's love that you're doing that. That's a really good one. And then the other one that most people don't understand that you're getting is the role that protein plays. So growing up, I thought protein was for just packing on muscle. I didn't know protein was for repairing the muscles that I had broken during my workout. And every time you lift weights, you tear down your muscles. There we go. There she is.
What's up, baby? Daddy's on the phone, okay?
It's Nana. Hi.
Can you say hi?
Say hi. Say hi. Hi.
Yeah, Smoothie and Juice got here. Hey, Tim, hang on just real quick. Sorry. Hang on real quick, brother. Sorry. Oh, it's coming. Okay. Go ahead, bud. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So we all need more protein than we think we do on a daily basis, just for our body to recover from, because every time you exercise, you destroy muscle and you destroy soft tissue. That's what's happening. And if you want to rebuild it, or not rebuild it, if you want to repair it, then protein is what repairs it. So it's no surprise that you were having a hard time rebuilding when you weren't getting enough protein. You were getting a third of the amount of protein you needed. So that's really, really great shout. And then the other piece, I'd love to know, tell me a little bit about, you mentioned beef liver. Talk about the supplements that you're taking now that they kind of identified would be right for you.
So I'm taking collagen peptides. I'm taking aminos. Let's see here. Yeah, beef liver, magnesium, fish oil.
Most people are deficient in magnesium. That's super. That's why people cramp afterwards. That's great.
That's the
awesome. No, those are all great. Really key things for the body that a lot of people just don't even. It's not even on their radar.
And also something that I've been doing as well. I have a doctor in Coeur d'Alene that allows me to buy vials of peptides and NAD from him. So pretty sweet. So something I've done the last couple of months, and something honestly that's really helped my recovery is and there's so many peptides out there, but one in particular that I love is BP 157.
BPC 157.
So I do pretty much every day. I have my little 30 gauge syringe. I pop my shoulder.
I was going to say, are you doing it?
So I've been injecting myself the last 2 months, simply, just with peptides and NAD. And, I mean, I like doing NAD through IV more. I feel like it's more neuron, and you get more brain activity through that. But obviously, doing it, being able to pop my shoulder, I feel like there's quicker activation with my cells. I'm recovering much faster. Definitely gives me a boost of energy. And honestly, like NAD in the morning, it's like a shot of caffeine to me, and just allows me to be a little sharper. Like my day's more efficient. I sleep better. I've been doing NAD for a year and a half now. I'm a huge advocate of NAD, and someone like myself who definitely has some ADD just allows me to like take all the cerebral stuff and all the outside noise and just be a bit more tunnel visioned. And I do a lot of work on my phone, and like I used to just get so lost in my phone. Like I'm sending out an email, or I'm like going through my YouTube comments, and then I get a text message, or I get an email, and then I'm kind of bouncing around. Where like I feel like through NAD, I can just watch that stuff out and still just focus on my stinking email.
Yes.
But it's, I mean, honestly, to me too, it's almost like a form of Adderall. But in the cleanest way. Like I do not like Adderall. I think I get like I've tried it in the past, and I just get way too squirrely, and then you feel like crap at the end of the day, and you kind of feel like whacked out. And
Hey, tilt your camera up one more time for me. Thank you.
Yeah. So no, huge fan of all the supplements. I have like a little. I have these magnesium gel packs that I'll do in the morning as well. Great for recovery. And also, I mean, Aloe MD, or what's the new name for it? Repair X.
Ultimate Repair X. That's right.
I like the other name better, but hey, it's all good. Ultimate Repair X. But no, I use the triple threat morning and night. Use the lotion, use the roll on, use the salve. Generally, I'll go lotion, everywhere, and then just like specific areas that I'm hurting. Usually it's like foot, hamstring, elbow. I'll use the roll on and the salve there, but
little extra dose.
Little extra dose, and Chris, the great guy, Chris, has done a great job with the company, and no, I'm just happy to be a brand ambassador. And something I do directly after the hot tub is get myself all lathered up and greased up and move on with my day.
Slather it on, baby.
Grease it up.
That's it. When it's tournament day and you're going through your bracket and you have downtime, what are the foods or energy you reach for, and what are the tools that are in your bag that you reach for?
Yeah. So as far as food, I'm probably up by 6, jumping in the hot tub real quick. After the hot tub, doing some Beamer, probably doing some compression boots. Added in like a little stretching, and then right away I'm probably doing 2 protein shakes. I'm gonna have some eggs. I'm gonna have some sausage. I'm gonna have some fruit, and then I'll probably put carboline in my water just to kind of give me some energy and get some carbs in me.
What's that?
Yeah, carboline.
What's carboline?
Yeah, it just acts as like a source of energy, and it's super light.
Nice.
And usually, like in the morning, I'm nervous. I'm dealing with like a little anxiety. I'm probably looking through the draw, and so just with all those emotions, like it's tough to put a lot of food down. So if I can go like protein shake and then add a couple scoops of carboline in my water, it almost acts as like a full meal. But I always try to at least like choke down some eggs and choke down some sausage and all that. But and then once I get to the tournament, we've been doing like crackers with cream cheese and some salmon on top throughout the day. My trainer, who's sitting in the hot tub right now, is he's like notorious for making me a nice little salmon bite on like a cracker.
Wow.
And then do a bunch of fruit, almonds, nuts and stuff like that. But obviously throughout the day, I'm thinking about my matches. I'm like using the restroom all day because I'm nervous. And I don't know, something that's funny is that, and I've told this story a couple of times, but like my very first wrestling tournament, I obviously grew up as a wrestler. My dad was a wrestling coach, and my very first wrestling tournament, I remember I probably took like 10 Ps in like a span of like an hour, right? And I was just so nervous for all my matches. And I kid you not, those nerves and not being able to control your bladder, I still have to this day. And I've been on all the biggest stages, and it's just so funny how that stuff never goes away. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. And I do have similar experiences on game day with my what needs to come out, what needs to go out far more often on game day. That's the way I'll put it. I totally relate to that.
But yeah, so like honestly, just all day long trying to just keep like enough food in my system. So, I'm getting a good source of energy from it.
Yep.
And
And then what's in your bag? What do you reach for?
So I have the Hyperrise massage gun. You know, I have the Ultimate Repair X supplements, ointments, and I have like a vibrating massage ball from Hyperrise as well. I don't usually bring my Beamer. Don't usually bring my compression boots. If there's a Beamer set up there, then I'll usually walk to the Beamer booth and use the Beamer a couple times throughout the day.
Nice.
But the main thing is just putting myself in a headspace that like allows me to play well, making sure that I'm energized and I'm not eating too much, but there's just enough food in my system. As far as like the electrolytes and all that, I have my big water bottle. I use Jigsaw, also known to use Liquid IV. I'm also a brand ambassador of a company called Salt Stick. They work with like a lot of marathon runners, and they have like these big salt caps. As you know, I sweat like a machine. I've been known to be a cramper and all the above. That's why I do all the IVs and anyhow, something that's been very beneficial aside from the IVs is being able to take these large horse caps that are massive, but it's got a bunch of potassium, magnesium, sodium, calcium, and I usually take, like on singles day, I'll probably take 10 of those bad boys. During doubles days, like anywhere from like 4 to 6. So that's kind of my tournament day routine or tournament day supplement routine.
Yeah, for all of you who are listening, when you sweat, if you get like the white crust on your hat or on your clothes, that's all the salt and magnesium and potassium coming out of your body that you need to replenish. So this is a great shout as to why water isn't enough for rehydration. So that's really, really smart. Really great. What have I forgotten to ask you?
I own a camp business. If anybody, is looking to maybe get McGuffin or maybe to get K-Mac, Kyle McKenzie is the host of my podcast. Great guy, great educator, knows his stuff. Is just a tactician
he does.
It's just a tactician at heart. Used to play professional poker.
Yep.
He pretty much now is doing a good majority of the camps. I've kind of taken a step back just because the sport's getting a lot younger and everybody's trying to take my head off, if you know what I mean. And, anyhow, so you can go to my website, go to TysonMcGuffin.com. If you guys want to buy some merchandise, I have this cool beanie here. You can click on the shop tab, and I got a bunch of cool merch there if you guys want to sign up for a camp. Also, I have a pretty established YouTube channel. It's called Tyson McGuffin Pickleball, and I have my podcast called The McGuffin Show. And then K-Mac and I have put together probably 250 free educational videos that we did over COVID, and I think we're done.
That are outstanding.
Thank you. I think we're going to be done with those videos at the end of this year, and then we'll be doing a new series of videos come next year that is updated and that is brand new. But
brilliant. Yeah, I can give a shout out to your camp for sure, because I remember it was like an exponential increase in my understanding of the game, not just my playing of the game. One of the things I really loved was you helped me understand the type of players that are out on the court, almost like an archetype, like who are you as a player? What do you like to do? What's your natural strength? And develop that. And it really helped me understand, especially as partners, finding out not only who am I, but who's a good complementary partner based on who I am. Like that was a level of understanding I never had before I went to your camp. And then just going through literally all the shots of the game. And when I left your camp, I was a way better pickleball player than when I showed up at your camp. So it was definitely worth the time and the money. It was a great investment into myself, into my game. So big shout out. All right, buddy. Where do people find you on Instagram?
For sure. You can find me. Yeah,
Facebook.
You can find me on Instagram or on Facebook at Tyson McGuffin. I also have a camp page on Instagram and Facebook called Tyson McGuffin Signature PB Camps. And I have a newsletter that goes out every Thursday. You can subscribe by simply going to my website and put your email in there, and you will get that newsletter every Thursday. My brand is me as an athlete, me as a dad, me as a coach. Not only am I a savage on the court, but off the court, I'm a total softie. I have 4 beautiful children and a lovely wife. No, man, it's been a fun journey. I feel like the sport's growing at a rapid rate, and there's so many good things that are taking place around the sport. There's bigger brands coming in. You know, we're on CBS this Sunday for Championship Sunday. And no,
Let's
it's
go.
just a lot of super exciting stuff, and a lot of very cool people in the sport like yourself, Tim. And I just want to say, appreciate you, buddy. And sorry again for, delaying this whole process and taking so long to get me on. But we need people like you in the industry. And buddy.
Appreciate that.
Thanks again.
All right. Well, Tyson McGuffin, thanks for being on Pickleball
All right,
Recovery.
Tim, take care, buddy.
Thanks so much for listening. Did you know there's one place on the web for all your recovery needs? It's at www.pickleballrecovery.com. You'll find all the products I personally use and recommend, along with exclusive discounts on many of them, as well as my blog where I help you make sense out of all the different products and practices out there to keep you moving and feeling better so you play better. After all, your body is the most expensive piece of equipment you own. Also, do you want to know the #1 mistake picklers make that leads to increased pain, soreness, stiffness, and injury? Just head over to pickleballrecovery.com and download my free guide to playing with less pain and more enjoyment. Listen, pickleball makes us feel young at heart, but not young in body. So go download my free guide at www.pickleballrecovery.com. See you next time.